really, really bad in that it's a 2-cost 2/2, but it can also be just an absolute monster that is really, really difficult to deal with. I mean, if you go through these two deck lists, they're actually almost identical. Wes has 2 copies of Kargan Dragonlord, where Michelle has the 4th Ember Hauler and the 3rd Hero. He also has no Forked Bolts, but he has an additional Shrine of Burning Rage and Arc Trails. So this is very, very close to a mirror match.
It's interesting because, so it looks like Wes leads off with turn 1 Goblin Guide, and he attacks. Now, normally in the red mirror, I would go Goblin Guide pass. Like, attacking, give them lands is a really high risk in an attrition-based matchup. But anyway, so Glenn Jones, who's been playing Wes's deck and actually handed Wes the deck for this event, now he hasn't been playing with Shrines. He says Shrine, he just doesn't like Shrine that much. And
is that an Arabian Mountain?
Had that in. I think so.
Is that really wow.
It's pretty.
Oh, Goblin Guide attacks on both sides.
Goblin Guide's on both sides of the battlefield. Gives Wes a land here. Gives him an Arid Mesa. And Dragonlord can be really big in this matchup. The way that Glenn said you're supposed to play it is you're just supposed to wait till you have 6 mana available, find an opening, play it, and then level it up all the way. And it's hard for them to deal with a 4/4 Dragonlord, soon an 8/8 Dragonlord. Wes attacks again, this time showing another Goblin Guide for Michelle. Down comes Shrine of Burning Rage for Wes Wise. And there's a lot of different ways you can play this. You can definitely take the aggressive angle, and Michelle's going to do just that with her Dublin Goblin Guide draw, flipping Teetering Peaks to Wes Wise, and then Grim Lavamancer. The issue with going aggressive with cards like Goblin Guide, though, is there is a lot of attrition in this matchup, and giving your opponent extra lands is huge, and just extra cards in general in any fashion. And a lot of players I know will just go Goblin Guide pass.
Well, I mean, if you look at Michelle's situation, she only has 1 land. She actually hasn't played a second land. So I think in her position, it's actually completely correct to be attacked with the Goblin Guide.
Oh, agreed. She has to attack. She has to take the aggressor position in this particular.
So Wes is actually the one who has a very interesting decision here.
I would definitely not attack.
Neither would I. I think that he, particularly because his opponent has these Goblin Guides in play, it's pressuring him, and he's a little bit behind in life. I think that he definitely. Jeez, those are such baller lands.
When he starts the game's buyer, he can play with the nicest cards.
Chandra's Phoenix.
Right, so there's the Phoenix, and I would just pass the turn.
I think he just wants to say go.
I mean, it's so tempting to attack, but I just pass the turn.
Phoenix is one of the super, super good cards in the red mirror. And, I mean, just in the red deck in general.
Glenn said it was the most important card in the mirror match.
Yeah, I mean, the mirror match, as we have said, is very attrition-based, very much trading, and Phoenix is a card that you get double duty from your bolts. You get to go to their face and to their face again when the Phoenix comes back.
Yeah, Phoenix is absolutely crucial, and I mean the games do actually have a lot of skill to them, and it can matter when you burn, what you burn, like what your game plan is. But Glenn definitely lost one match in Pittsburgh where my opponent drew more Phoenixes than I did. And Michelle attacks with both, flips Wes, another Mountain, followed by an Ember Hauler.
She is in a really, really bad spot here.
Gonna double traded guides, and now Michelle has a Mountain and nothing.
Simon's Judge to the main stage.
It's a Grim Lavamancer. Trying to get back in it. Now, the one thing to Michelle's favor here is the games do tend to go long, and so if she draws land, she can draw out of the situation and have a ton of the gas. But Wes, actually, with that Shrine taking up, is going to be able to clock Michelle pretty quickly. Plus, he's got a Phoenix in his graveyard he can rebuy.
Wes has also effectively drawn 3 cards off of Michelle's Goblin Guides, so
yeah,
he's actually ahead in terms of resources here.
Yeah, I mean Wes is ahead in practically every way imaginable.
Other than life, he's behind by 2.
That is true, although that will change very soon. And down comes Chandra's Phoenix, kicking up that Shrine, then Teetering Peaks is going to make it a 4. Michelle will drop to 11 here. And so it's 2 Phoenixes for Wes Wise, and I mean Michelle's in a tricky spot, because even if she, say Lavamancer's away, that Phoenix, Wes can just burn spell them, grab 2 Phoenixes back, and be in a really, really good position.
So, Yeah, I mean, Michelle's just really in a rough spot here. I mean, she has that Lavamancer, but she just doesn't have the mana to be able to use it and actually pressure Wes. I can't really see her hand, but it's full of a lot of things that apparently are not land. Did she discard?
I do not think she discarded. I think she has 7 cards. Alright, so that Shrine of Burning Rage is on 5 for West-wise. So would not be surprised if he can just go lethal next turn with like a burn spell.
I mean, or this turn. I mean, if he has, mountain, bolt, of any variety of bolts. There's a whole lot of them.
So true. All right, West taps 1, and Burst Lightning goes to the face.
Kicks the
And
Shrine
bring back
up.
the Phoenix.
Bring back the Phoenix. And the Phoenix has risen. 6 counters on the Shrine. Michelle.
Soon to
9
be
life.
7.
Double Phoenix attack. Michelle will likely kill one of those with a Lavamancer.
Or Burst Lightning.
All right. So Michelle dropped to 9. That Shrine is on 7. Things are gonna probably end in Wes's favor pretty quickly. Next turn should be the last turn of the game. Yep. And there's a Lavamancer from West, which will make that Shrine lethal next turn. Michelle draws. And just concedes.
So as
scooping, but with only 1 card, it's very difficult.
As much as we talked about the intricacies of the red mirror, we didn't really see too much there. With it is important to have land. We've learned this.
Yes,
we've learned that the player who has more than 1 land is more likely to win.
It was just more or less a goldfish there. And Michelle goes to the sideboard. Let's take a look at these players' sideboards.
Their sideboards are very close.
4 Volshock Refugee for each of them, and that is the big card in this matchup. It's impossible to kill, save for Shrining.
Or Dismember, which Michelle has access to, but Wes does not.
Which could be a big deal. I don't know if Wes will bring I don't know if Michelle will bring in Dismember necessarily in game 2, but if she knows that Wes has them for game 3, I could definitely see Dismember coming in. The card is huge.
It's an odd spot to be in though, because Dismembering is really painful. and while a Volshock Refugee is obviously a very powerful card, often just losing 4 life to kill it is, or if you draw the Dismember and they don't have the Refugee, you're just really putting yourself in an awkward spot. There's also not that many bad cards. I think the worst card in the mirror is there's Goblin Guide, which isn't very good, and then Hero I think is pretty poor.
Yeah, Hero is not good. I would definitely sideboard out her 3 heroes here. And I think you can make a case for siding out Goblin Guide too. I know she only has 3 Chandra's Phoenix, as does Wes, so neither of them has the full 4 instead of that card. And not that you'd want to take any out, but certainly could be relevant in the mirror match, as that is so important. But so if you cut 4 Goblin Guide, 3 heroes, you would bring in 4 Volshock Refugee. And do you want any 3 other cards? Do you want Manic Vandal potentially?
Manic Vandal, I could see bringing in Manic Vandal. Shrine is a very important card.
Shrine seems like a big deal. So
Wes actually also does not have access to Manic Vandal.
Right. Wes has 4 Torpor Orbs, which are not doing a lot here. I mean, I think the only cards we're going to see out of Wes are 4 Volshock Refugee, which will come in over his 2 Hero of Oxidridge, and probably over 2 Goblin Guides, I'd imagine. That sounds about right. I mean, you want to keep in your Arc Trails, you want to keep in your Shrine.
I think that seems accurate.
He's going to board out some Shrines and Heroes.
Glenn Jones came over to give us a little tip that he's going to board out some number of Shrine of Burning Rage.
So Glenn Jones is going to come in for just a second and say a couple words there. Wes is playing your list, correct?
Yeah. I changed it a little from when I was in Philly. I added Shrine was the biggest thing because I felt like Pittsburgh was actually like kind of Shrine unfriendly, but a lot of Shrines did well there, which was kind of weird. But and I think people are playing less Oblivion Rings now, which is a good thing for Shrine. And if people are leaning more on Mental Misstep, which they've started doing, like Jerry's Cobblade list ran Mental Misstep over Spell Pierce, and Shrine's better against those lists because it gives you a way to kill them.
What do you think are the keys in this matchup?
Post board, it depends on who has refugees, and they both have the full amount, which should make it interesting. I've never actually I ran 4 just because I was really tired of ever losing the mirror, and I think 3 is probably the right number, but I thought the deck was fine everywhere else, so I just ran the 4.
Wow.
He's gonna board out heroes for sure. They're pretty bad, unless you're on the play and adopt like a really shock heavy plan, but I don't really like that. I think refugees is just where it's at, and he'll probably board out either 2 Shrine, or he'll board out the Dragon Lords, and it probably depends whether he's on the play or the draw. I think the Dragon Lord can be a little stronger when you're on the play, because if you turn 3 him and level him up, he's like an additional Phoenix sort of, in that he's a very big threat that they have to deal with relatively immediately. Unlike the Phoenix, he doesn't recur. We have so many 3-drops that he might just decide to get rid of those. Those were we talked about the mirror, and those were the 2 slots basically we decided you kind of question. Having Arc Trail is a nice advantage in the mirror, as it keeps them from being able to do a lot of things. And I don't think she has any in the board or in the main, right?
Nope, she just has Fourth Bolts.
What's your thought on Goblin Guide in the mirror?
He doesn't attack very often. I told Wes, like, every time you play him, you should never cast him untapped, unless you're in the mirror, and then you probably cast him untapped a reasonable amount of the time. It depends on your hand a lot. Like, sometimes it's right to just attack, but generally speaking, I'm not super eager, because the games tend to go long, and they're all about like refugee and who gets that advantage.
Do you feel like you should be drawing, or does refugee change that?
I draw in the mirror. I think this list is actually especially suited to draw with all the shocks and the Chandra's Phoenixes and the Arc Trails. Like, you can get so much card advantage that you can bury them really fast.
Fair enough. Well, thank you very much, Glenn. Appreciate the insight on the deck that you worked quite a bit on, kind of taken from Darwin Castle's original list and tweaked quite heavily. Wes is a very prominent Star City buyer. There's the turn 1 Grim Lavamancer, and if you've never been to one of these events, you'll note that there's a lot of booths set up around here from various card alterers, and Eric Klug, who's quite the master card alterer, altered some Guru lands that look like Moxes, and they were quite expensive, and Wes owns all of them. So
I guess that makes the Arabian Mountains a little less impressive.
It's true. It's true.
So looks like Michelle chose to play first. Plays an Ember Hauler, while Wes has a Grim Lavamancer. Though I don't believe Wes had a fetch land to start things off.
Yeah, but no one on turn 2 either.
Lavamancer is less impressive than it could be. So it looks like he's taking down that Lavamancer, or that Ember Hauler, and getting in with his Lavamancer for 3 thanks to Teetering Peaks.
All right, so Ember Hauler goes down. Lavamancer serves in for 3, and that'll drop Michelle down to 15. Wes still only with 1 card in his graveyard, but it shouldn't be shouldn't be that hard to get fuel for that Lavamancer.
There are a few spells in these decks.
And Michelle has 2 lands now, so she's
gotten past game 1.
got past the hump from the first game, but we'll see if she has the third. Now, it looks like there's a Teetering Peaks there. And, okay, she's going to go for Searing Blaze on Grim Lavamancer. 3 to your guy, 3 to you, she says to Wes. And Wes to 17.
Searing Blaze is one of the really key cards in just mono red in general. It's one of the cards that makes mono red decks able to have a reasonable matchup against creature decks. It was actually one of the first decks that really saw Searing Blaze played in at all. Was the Brozek Boros deck. Peter Brozek's Boros deck from many moons ago and extended. And it was a card that made the deck actually very, very powerful against Zoo, because it could kill a Wild Nacatl and kill the opponent at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, whenever you're like kill your guy, kill your Nacatl, like you said, deal 3 to you, it's just huge. You feel like you're so far behind against a red deck.
Kind of feels like cheating.
It's just a 2-for-1. And
so it looks like Wes is the one who is stalled on land this game. He spends his 3rd turn just playing out Shrine and passing the turn back.
See if Suni can capitalize, or sorry, Michelle can capitalize.
I think Suni's a fine.
Suni's probably fine
too.
way to call her.
Her Twitter handle, so.
Yeah, Suni FDC on Twitter. One of the Fragdoll cadets, I believe. And down comes Kargan Dragon Lord, but certainly not where you want to be with the Dragon Lord with only 2 lands. It's more of
a little less impressive. So
Grizzly Bear.
Both shrines ticking up, one faster than the other. I'm guessing that Dragon Lord is not long for this world.
Yeah, I would basically want to kill that on the spot. All right, Ember Hauler. That's a pretty good answer to a Dragon Lord.
I mean, she actually is very able to just let Wes add counters to it. Unless Wes is threatening to actually go the full amount, she can just let that Dragon Lord hang out.
Right, exactly.
Kill it in response to leveling, as leveling can only be played as a sorcery.
It is no figure of destiny, that's for sure. All right, now there's the card.
There's a refugee.
Volshock Refugee. Now I think I haven't seen Wes's hand, but judging by the way the game is played out, wasn't surprised to see a first refugee there, and I wouldn't be surprised if he had a second too. And there it is at the top of his hand, actually. is the second refugee. He kept the 2-lander that didn't look that exciting, but the 2 refugees really turned that into a big deal. And now, as you notice, Michelle can attack with her Ember Hauler. She can crack the Shrine of Burning Rage to kill it.
I think that actually might be what she has to do here.
I think that's what you have to do, because you have to deal with that guy eventually, but it's certainly not what she wants to do.
Right. I mean, I want to kill a pro-red creature whenever I play mono red, so...
I mean, I want to 3-for-1 myself to kill a Baneslayer Angel too, but I don't really want to do that, you know?
It's true.
And in comes Ember Hauler, so she does indeed shrine down the refugee, and in comes Ember Hauler. First time I was playtesting this deck, someone handed me the deck, and I looked through a sideboard, and I was like, oh, what are these refugees supposed to be? Like, what are their proxy for? And they're like, no, they're actually just Fall Shock Refugee, and they're actually quite impressive in the mirror match.
Oh, I mean, refugee is... I was talking to Tom Lapilli at Pro Tour Nagoya, where I, interestingly enough, played mono red with 4 refugee in my main deck, which was not the correct choice for that tournament. I should have just played Tempered Steel, but I was talking to him, and he was saying that refugee was a card that they had created because their mono red decks were getting really good, and they wanted to have a card that the mono red decks could play against each other that wouldn't be good against other decks.
Huh, interesting.
So it would be a card that was taking up room in their sideboard, but not actually giving them value against the rest of the field.
That's certainly good. And also, I mean, it helps, if like a deck's going to be popular, it helps make it a little more, you can get some edges, but with correct sideboarding, and, bring in this card if you choose to have slots for it. Wes picks up a card. You'll notice Wes's sleeves are some of the newer Star City brand sleeves, really nice looking. So the really nice ones, the even better ones, Justin Treadway came out with his brand new set of gorgeous sleeves with his trademark like cartoony artwork, and you'll definitely want to check those out. Looks like Wes is going to Teetering Peaks as a refugee here. Not sure if he's going to attack. Oh, he does go for the attack. Going to chop Michelle's life down to 10.
It has protection from red, but not protection from red producing lands.
It is no Horizon Drake, and crashes in for 5. Michelle can't really do much about it, unless she has that Dismember, I suppose. All right, yeah, Michelle at 10. And Wes passes back.
So Wes has a Shrine on 7 and a 3/2 pro-red creature against Michelle's 10 life.
It does not look good for Michelle.
This game she seems to have quite a few lands as opposed to the last one, but does not have the key cards in... Oh, at least she can kill that guy with a Shrine and get in with her Ember Haulers, but that Shrine is going to kill her.
Yeah, I think it's...
It's a 7-point Shrine sitting on Wes's side of the table.
I think he's got a spell, right? Yeah, he's got Lightning Bolt, untap. Bolt you, untap, Shrine you. And that's all she wrote. And
there it is. Wes Wise takes the match 2-0 against Michelle Roberson in the mono red mirror. Volshak Refugee showing just how powerful it really is.
3 mono red decks in 2 rounds. Could that be a big story this weekend?
Mono red was one of the most popular and most successful decks at the Grand Prix in Pittsburgh. It was not a deck that was on all that many people's radar, or at least not high on their radar. And I believe it was actually the most popular deck in the top 8. I think there were 3 copies. I might be wrong. It might only be 2.
There were definitely 2. Don't remember if there was a third or not. But regardless, it was very popular. There were 2 very different builds of mono red, if I remember, right?
Or at least
recall reasonably different. Everyone back in the booth. I'm Gavin Verhey here with Brian Kibler, and yeah, I mean, mono red was a popular deck in Pittsburgh. We're not too far away, sitting in Atlanta, I suppose.
It's pretty far, actually.
Oh, really? That's what I get. I made a stab in the dark. I was incorrect.
We're not that far. We're only completely, halfway down the country.
See, I just figure I'm on the East Coast, so I just figure that
you are on the right coast.
So I just figure all the states are really close together. I was like, well, it can't be that far away from each other. Perhaps I was mistaken.
It's like both Carolinas in the way, then like a bunch of other stuff.
There are 2 Carolinas?
There are, actually.
Wow, who knew? I definitely found out that Pittsburgh and Philadelphia were in the same state.
You didn't know that?
I knew it, but I didn't actually actively think about it. I just booked my travel